with all that said, I would like to just maybe talk about the album a little bit more to close this out. At this point, I've done 5 breakdowns. I did Afterlife, Sanctuary, Tell Me When You've Had Enough, Who Will You Follow, and Rapture. I think that these albums or these songs, for the most part, cover my thoughts on the album. I didn't do breakdowns on the 2 ballads, but I think both ballads are very good. I think How Do I Heal and Forever Without You are solid ballads. But the spectrum here is I've got 2 songs that I liked, Rapture and Afterlife, 2 songs that I didn't like, Who Will You Follow and Tell Me When You've Had Enough, and then the title track, Sanctuary, which I thought was sort of a middling track. It had some good, had some bad. I think that that's about how I feel about this album. It's a mixed bag. There's a lot of, there's some high highs, but unfortunately there are, and I think that there's more good than bad, right? Let me talk about the good. I think from a good perspective, this album actually maintains a degree of thematic relevancy throughout. She talks about wanting the album to be a sanctuary for people in the midst of a chaotic world. I think that she actually captured that. All of the songs, to some extent, are about the crazy, chaotic world that we live in, and maybe coming to peace with that, or what do you do with that, essentially? And I think that she did a pretty good job of staying on theme for the album, which is not something you see. A lot of artists just write fucking bullshit, whatever, and go all over the place with their albums. But she stuck to it. I think that there are some songs in this album that are excellent. And I've talked about them, right? Like Rapture and How Do I Heal and Afterlife. But I think that there are some songs that I haven't discussed that I think are very good too. I think that Calm Down is a really unique, very interesting song. That chorus is super cool. Somehow heavy and yet mellow at the same time. I think that Self-Destruct, really cool song, whole lot going on in that one. And even Wide Open Heart, I think, I don't think Wide Open Heart is like mind-boggling, but I talked about this on the last episode, but they do some cool stuff with the chord progressions in the chorus. And it's actually a very positive closing song for the album. It's like a peaceful closer, which I think, again, matches with that album theme of music being a sanctuary from the chaos of the world, right? So I appreciate the thematic consistency. I do think there was also a lot of diversity on this album, a lot of different songs, way more different types of songs than I was expecting from the album. So that they took some risks on a few of the songs. Some of them it paid off, some of them maybe not. Even like Sanctuary, I did not like the intro monologue for that title track, but I can acknowledge that it was a creative risk for them to do it. So yeah, now I think that kind of can segue into the things I don't like. I just mentioned creative risk. I think that this song in particular took no creative risks. I think that Tell Me When You've Had Enough is extremely generic and bland. Unfortunately, you can see pieces of this throughout other songs on the album as well. I think that there's a lot of lyrical cliches, a lot of kind of bland guitar work and bland production work, kind of permeating throughout. I think that the themes of the various songs can, sort of make it okay. But for example, like there wasn't like a single guitar solo that I thought, or like lead guitar part, or that I thought was just like mind boggling. I mean, and really, if I'm being honest, there wasn't much guitar work on this album in general that I thought was particularly like exceptional, or like, oh my God, I've never heard something like that before. So it all comes, you see what, you know what I mean? So like, I think that there's just this general, like, that probably could have been better. Maybe they should have spent a little more time on certain things. And especially like the first 3 songs, like, Beautiful Lie, I thought was just, she literally says, don't tell me what to do. I mean, what are we doing? Like the fact that that's how you want to open the album as well. I don't belong to you, so don't tell me what to do. Again, this is like, I would expect that from like Olivia Rodrigo. I would expect that from Taylor Swift or Sabrina Carpenter. I wouldn't expect that from, or I shouldn't expect that from a lyricist like Amy Lee, especially at this stage in her career and her life. It's just cringy. It doesn't work. It comes off as very, I don't know. It didn't work for me at all. Maybe it works for some of the girlies, but like I'm not into it. So yeah, but so anyway, a lot of lyrical problems throughout the album, but I think a lot of the songs cover up, or a lot of the songs it's okay because the themes are so strong, and the overall quality of the song is, makes up for it. But in general, yeah, I don't like to necessarily give numbers to the albums, but I would probably give this one, like, I'm leaning towards like a high 5, like a 5.5, maybe a 6. And I don't, to be clear, in my scale, I know everyone has this weird opinion that a 10 is like normal and a 7 is terrible, and then anything below a 7 doesn't exist. To me, a 5 is an average album. I think that this album is maybe slightly above average. I don't think it's amazing or excellent. That's where you get into your like 8s and 9s territory, and like, or like a 7 or an 8 is like really good, and 9 or 10 is like masterpiece or close to masterpiece. This album feels above average. It's a strong album. There's good moments, but unfortunately there's not so great moments as well.